This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Sheridan Soundcheck sessions, and I am super excited to have my first guest, Garret Butler. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good. So, Garret Butler is a artist that we have signed to Rogue Music, and he is amazing. I love Garret so much.
Oh, thanks. Thanks.
Okay, so I guess we can get started, and I'm going to ask you all of these questions.
Perfect.
All of them. So, tell us about your musical journey. So, how'd you get started?
So, I've always loved music. Like, my dad was a drummer, or is a drummer, and he tried so hard when I was a kid to get me to be a drummer, and I just couldn't do it. So I, gave up the drumming, and then went through high school, and I met a girl, and we had this song that would always come on, like when we got in the car together, and so we kind of made it like our song. It was "Say You Won't Let Go" by James Arthur, I think that's who it is. So I was like, oh, for her birthday, I'm gonna borrow my friend's guitar and I'm gonna learn how to play it.
That's so sweet.
Right? I thought so. So I did it. I learned it. It was hard. It's a tough song when you're just starting out. But then the day before I was supposed to play it for her, she broke up with me. Yeah.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. It was rough. It was my first girlfriend. So like
that sucks.
it was rough. It was rough. So, I got depressed as a high school kid does when they get broken up with. And I just, stuck with the guitar. I learned a bunch of Ed Sheeran songs, and it kind of brought me out of the slump. And I was like, hey, the guitar is really the only thing that helped me through that and playing music. And so I stuck with it. And here I am.
Well, that's, I don't even know what to say to that. That's a really sad start.
Hey, that's why I write sad music.
Oh. Well, I mean, yeah, your music is kind of sad. No offense.
No, I
but
know
I
it
love
is.
it. I love your music so much. So who or what are your biggest influences, both musically and personally?
So personally, it'll always be my dad. Mm-hmm. He's the one who, he built my music taste, whether I liked it or not as a kid. Mm-hmm. The stuff he would turn on, I have found that it's the stuff I'm listening to today. Musically, the writing of like James Taylor, Jason Isbell, Hank Williams.
Oh, I love Hank Williams. I love that like old rebel country.
Yes,
so
Waylon
much.
Jennings, Merle Haggard, all them.
Yes.
But some newer artists, Nolan Taylor, his writing is phenomenal, and it's inspired a lot of my writing. Evan Honer is really good. I draw a lot from his guitar playing. I'm trying to play more like him. But yeah.
Oh, well, that's super cool. So next question. So was there a specific moment when you knew you wanted to do music as like a career?
As a career, there wasn't really a specific moment. I wrote my first song, Glass Gazing, and I played it for a friend. And he was like, dude, that was good. You gotta put that out. And so I did. And all my friends, kind of said that it was good. And me being anxious and I have imposter syndrome and stuff like that, I was like, nah, it's probably not that good. They're lying to me. But then a buddy of mine named Whitley Casey let me open up or play at one of his shows. I played a couple songs. And the response I got after that from the crowd there was really uplifting, and it kind of solidified it. So I guess that would be the moment. Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool. And I really like Glass Gazing. I mean, it's out of the 2 songs that are on Spotify.
I don't have a lot.
No, that's not a diss. That's not a diss. But that's
expensive.
Definitely one of my favorite ones.
Thank you. Thank you.
So can you walk us through like what writing a song would usually look like for you?
Yeah, so I have a lot of different processes that I use, and I kind of just cycle through them and see which one sticks for the day and see what works. Sometimes I'll kind of do, I've heard it called Ouija boarding. So I learned it from John Mayer, actually.
Oh, really?
He did a radio interview where he was talking about the same thing, and he basically he'd say, you know, you could sit there and play a riff all day and nothing would happen, but if you're not immediately kind of just almost freestyling, coming off your head with lyrics, then you're wasting your time. So that's one way. I'll just start playing and I'll just start spouting stuff off, throwing stuff at the wall, see what sticks, and then I'll work off what I get from that. Recently, I've found that I go to Fatty's and I'll get some Delta 8 gummies to relax because I get very stressed out easily.
Yeah.
And that helps. And that kind of
Really?
lets my creative juices start flowing. And then other times it's stuff just comes to me while I'm driving and I'll voice record it and work off of it later.
Nice. I mean, I have definitely wanted to write a song, and recently I have been absolutely obsessed with Chapel Roan.
Oh, of
Oh
course.
my gosh, I have been so obsessed with her. I don't know why. It's just she's in my head, and anytime I go on to Instagram, she's there.
Yeah.
And she's kind of inspired me to maybe start writing, but I don't know. I feel like I'm not creative enough to write.
No, I think anybody can do it. It just takes, like anything, it takes practice.
Yeah.
I mean, I have several like journals and notebooks at home full of just trash. Just stuff I've written down that I thought was good at the time, and it's not.
Yeah.
You just got to go for it.
I guess so. I mean, my mom, I told her this like a couple years ago that I was super interested in writing a song. And she said, well, you know, if you don't know what you want to write about, if you're thinking about something or, you know, you just had an argument with somebody or whatever, just write down what happened.
Yeah.
And that's what I have been doing. So I have like a little notebook full of just, well, she said this. And I didn't.
Hey, that's how you got to do it sometimes.
Okay. So what's the story behind your latest, I guess, single?
Red Light?
Yeah.
Okay. So I hate this song.
You do?
Yeah, I hate it. I hate playing it. So I wrote it for my previous girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend.
The one that we just talked about?
No.
Another
That was
one?
the most recent.
Okay.
Most recent. So she is an opera singer.
Oh, wow.
And she had an audition for an opera up in Missouri.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't want her. It was obviously it's a long drive.
Yeah.
And she was going to leave at like 7 p.m. and drive the whole way by herself. And I was like, no, I'm not letting you do that. Like that's dangerous.
Yeah,
like
that
you
is
need
dangerous.
someone else in the car with you.
Yeah.
So I drove her, and it was funny because we left Waco around 7. We stopped in Denton to drop off her dog, and then from Denton to the hotel in Missouri, she was out cold, asleep the whole time.
Man.
But around like 3 a.m., we were in some nowhere town in Oklahoma. I hate driving through Oklahoma, by the way. And I was at a red light, and I looked over, and she was asleep. And I don't know, it was just I want to say it's the moment I quote unquote fell in love with her, because I looked over and, you know, the light was shining on her, and I don't know, it was just the snow was falling. It was still snowing. Snow was falling. It was kind of a perfect scene. And we got to the hotel at like 5 a.m.
Oh,
and
gosh.
we had to be up at 9 to make it the rest of the way to, I don't know, some town in Missouri. And I just couldn't sleep. So I sat up at the desk, and just like you said, that happened, and I wrote about it, and that Red Light's what came out.
Oh, wow. I mean, that's a really cool story, but I feel bad that you hate it so much. And I will say me and my family, we all packed up and drove to Pennsylvania in a car.
Oh.
And my family from Pennsylvania, they make the drive every year during the summer.
That's a rough drive.
It is. And so my mom, at some point, we were in, I don't even know what state we were in. Oh my gosh. Everything was just a blur. Like, I hated driving so much. And my mom was like, well, can you drive? Me and Dave are really tired. Dave's my stepdad. And I was like, yeah. Dude, I ended up driving, I don't even know what Virginia it was, till the border of Texas.
Jeez, that's a drive.
And I remember we my mom was like, oh, we'll just stop in Little Rock. And I was like, okay. We were driving and I was like, okay, can we get off and switch? And she just kept saying no, my mom. And I was like, I don't want to drive anymore. And so I don't even know what city it was, but I just saw this gas station with a Subway and I was like, I'm getting off right now.
Yeah.
And I scarfed my Subway sandwich and I slept the entire way home.
Very fair. Yeah. I remember driving through Oklahoma. It's like I think it was like a 2-hour drive to get 2 or 3 hour drive to get across Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
But I swear by like the 12th hour of our 3-hour drive through Oklahoma, I was losing my mind. At one point she woke up and she was like, where are we? And I said,
still in Oklahoma?
I said, if I see another Oklahoma sign, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah, no, that was me. Like my family from Pennsylvania and they drive down. The route you go through, it's like you go through Arkansas and then you drive across Tennessee, like the entire state. So then you go up and all around and stuff. But for me, Tennessee didn't last as long as I thought, and it was Arkansas.
Oh, it's the rural places. They suck.
It felt like we were in Arkansas for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And I hated it so much.
It's gross. Oh, there's just in Arkansas and Oklahoma, there's nothing.
Nothing.
And when it's night, it's the worst.
Yeah.
Because you can't see anything.
And then I will say, you always know when you're going from Texas to Oklahoma because the roads are so bad. At least the ways that we've gone. It's like, you have the nice Texas highway and it's smooth. And then you're just like,
Yep. It's awful.
Yeah. Okay.
No hate to Oklahoma, though.
Yeah, no hate to Oklahoma. It's just your roads are kind of... okay, so how do you feel your music has evolved since you first started?
So when I first started, like I said, I played a lot of like pop, like Ed Sheeran, James Arthur, artists like that. And then once I really got serious about it, I was like, I'm going to be a country artist. I want to write country music. And then I tried to write country music, and I tried to write like fun party songs, and I can't. Like it's just not. It's not the kind of writing I do. And so I've shifted from. I still like when I put music out, I put it under country because it's kind of the closest thing. I guess I can put it as Americana.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm like slowly shifting genres, and I'm hoping Americana is where I stick because I don't want to switch genres again. But I feel like the shift has been good. I've kind of found my place. I found what I like to write about. I don't want to write like, I mean, if it happens, it happens, but I don't want to write like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, no hate to him, obviously, because he's an amazing country artist, but Toby Keith, I can't write like Toby Keith. Mm-hmm. I can't write like Beer for My Horses or Red Solo Cup. That's just not the kind of writing I do. I love those songs. I love Toby Keith.
Yeah.
R.I.P. But it's just, I don't know. I finally found the kind of writing that I like to do.
Yeah. And, you know, I have kind of heard from other interviews that I've like watched on YouTube and stuff that people would kind of say the same thing. Like, oh, I try to write really pop and upbeat music, but I just can't.
It's hard.
It's hard, you know? I think I kind of heard that, I think an interview like a long time ago from like Billie Eilish or something.
That's,
like,
yeah.
Her early music, and even now, like, it's really depressing.
She no matter what she writes about, I feel like she'll always have that like somber tone.
Yes.
Like she'll always sound sad.
It's always sad.
I love Billie Eilish.
Me too. Like,
but
I love her so much.
It's a good crying music.
Yes, if you want to cry, listen to her music.
Of course.
So are there any upcoming projects or releases that you're excited about?
I did just record a live EP at Texas Music Cafe.
Mm-hmm.
That's dropping real soon that I'm very excited for. It's called Imposter.
Yes.
It's got 4 tracks on it. It's got Red Light and Glass Gazing, and it's got 2 new ones. It's got a song I wrote right before recording called Fake It. It's about having imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And then the one I'm most excited for is called Wish, and I wrote it for a buddy of mine who is no longer with us. And he was kind of one of my biggest supporters because I went to a welding school in high school, like a subdivision of my school. Mm-hmm. And he was the only one in that, and it's called Guama. Only one in Guama that was semi-supportive at least. He was very supportive, but I had other people that were like, yeah, that's good, whatever. Keep welding.
Yeah.
But he was very supportive, and he was a really good guy, and he was a good friend. And I finally got to write like something to honor him, which is really cool, and it's very cathartic.
That's really cool. I mean, I asked that question as if I didn't know what was going on.
Well, we gotta frame it up for the listeners.
We gotta frame it up for the listeners. But I was there at Texas Music Cafe, and then I say this every time you're here, but I want to say it for the podcast. Like when you played Wish, you had my mom bawling. Oh my God! Like I looked over, and she was like,
"It's been the reaction."
I mean, and I kind of relate to that. I mean, I had someone in my life who took their own life, and listening to that song, I was like,
And then I think that's like I wrote it for him and his family, as almost an apology for not being, a better friend.
Yeah.
But I feel like it could help a lot of people who have gone through that, to kind of expressing those feelings of, I wish I was there more. Because I think when you lose someone, everybody has those thoughts.
Yes, everybody. And here's the thing, like, I wasn't really close to that friend. Yeah. But we knew each other. Yeah. We had our phone numbers and stuff. And I remember seeing stuff on his social media, and I was like, that's kind of weird of him to say. But I knew I was in middle school. Yeah. And so at the time, I was like, well, he has people that are probably closer to him. And I feel like I shouldn't really get into his business because I don't know him very well. Right. And then that happened. And then I was just blaming myself so much because I saw the signs and I was like, why didn't I say something? Blah, 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 blah. But I know that it's not my fault that it happened.
Yeah. And like as a middle schooler, you can't. Yeah. How are you supposed to?
How was I supposed to?
You're not equipped to handle that as a middle schooler.
Exactly.
I wasn't as a senior in high school. Yeah. So, I mean.
All right. So, next question.
All right.
What has been your most memorable performance so far?
I think I've got two. One being like the biggest kind of stage I've ever played on. I played the Waco Block Party, the Battle of the Bands.
Oh, yeah.
Played that with my buddy Will Craig, played guitar for me. And that was the first time I'd actually like played with anyone. Anytime I'd played before, it's just been by myself, just solo, me and my guitar. And me and him practiced for like 2 hours total before that. And he killed it. Shout out to Will. He carried it. He did so good. But then I think the coolest thing that happened like after the performance, when I played for my buddy Whitley, he used to do this thing called a birthday bash where he'd rent out a stage and then he'd bring all his like cool musician friends and they'd play a little concert for his birthday.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and one of them couldn't make it, and so he was like, "Hey, do you want to play a couple songs?" And I played Glass Gazing, and then I played Broken Halos by Chris Stapleton. Mm-hmm. And after I got off stage, I signed my first autograph and took my first picture with a fan.
Oh my gosh.
Which was really cool.
That's so cool.
So if you're listening, whoever I took that picture with, hold on to that one. If I see the signature on eBay later, I'm going to be mad.
Be very sad. All right. So how do you usually prepare for a live show?
So I have a whole process. So I wake up extra early the day of, and I'll go for a walk typically, whether it's just like around the yard or like I'll go for like actual walk or I'll get on a treadmill or something just to, get my body moving. Then I come in and I have a cup of peach ginger tea.
Ooh.
Yes, I always have tea. And then I try to let my voice rest as much as I can. Mm-hmm. I won't talk a lot, and then a few hours before show, I'll kind of run through my set. If it's not like an hour set. Because there's some shows I do where I'll play like 20, 25 minutes, just like I did at TMC.
Yeah.
Like I'll run through my set, or I'll just kind of go over my set list, remind myself of the keys and stuff like that. And then this was a bad habit that I kicked. I would always have a shot of tequila right before I got on stage.
Oh.
Used to. Don't do that. It's not good for you.
I mean, are you a person that can't really? Yeah. Are you kind of a lightweight?
Yeah. So I had a stomach surgery a few years ago, and it boosted my metabolism so much I can have like 2 shots, and I cannot drive.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't really say anything because I'm the same way. I went to a party when I was in like my sophomore year of high school because my sister Trinity was like
Called out.
Yeah, called her out. You know, she said she would listen, so I'm gonna call her out.
There you go.
But she was like, "Oh, you should come to this party," and that was the first time I've ever been to the party and the last time. Okay, it was nuts. Like this girl, she was like, I'm gonna. I don't know if I should say this.
Uh-oh.
It's okay.
Say it, maybe cut it out later.
Yeah, she was
Cool.
like, she had an argument with her boyfriend. She was like, I'm gonna kill myself. And then she went and drove her car, but she was going like 10, not even 10 miles an hour. She was just like rolling and she just kind of tapped a tree.
I shouldn't laugh.
And then she came back and then they like fought in their room, but then there was also like a pig. Like she had a pet pig and it was like running.
That's wild.
That was wild. And then I remember I woke up really hungover, but then
Fair.
I was like, I think I went to someone's house last night. And I don't know who I asked, but she was like, yeah, you went to my neighbor's house and y'all hung out. What? You let me go to a neighbor's house?
That's
just
wild.
by myself?
That's insane. I think everybody's got that one party story that's
Yes.
just too much.
Yeah, that was a little too much. And ever since then, no.
That's fair.
I'm I'm good.
I'm the same way.
I've had my fill. So, what do you do when you're not making music? Do you have any other hobbies or interests?
I'm a big nerd.
Mhm.
So my actual job is I'm an esports coach for Rappaport Academy. So I play a lot of video games.
Oh.
Yeah. And then I love Dungeons and Dragons. I have a group of people I play with up in Temple or down
oh my
in Temple.
gosh. I love playing D&D. I want to play Baldur's Gate.
Oh, it's phenomenal. I have like
Really?
600 hours in the game.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's great. It's the closest you can get to D&D without playing D&D.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. And then I also play I've spent way too much money on Magic the Gathering. I play that card game way
Mhm.
too much. So I'm just a big nerd.
Big nerd. I am also somewhat of a nerd myself.
Love
I
it.
don't know. I play music and then I play on my boyfriend's PC.
Fair.
And then, yeah, that's really it. That's my whole life. Or I don't know. I like to pet my cats and
Sounds like you're living the life.
yes, with my cats and my video games.
Yeah.
The other day, my stepdad was like, he was talking about video games, and then he was like, yeah, you know them video games. And I was like, what'd you just say? Video games?
Oh man.
Oh my gosh.
Love it.
Ugh.
You gotta look at it though. Like when our parents were kids, video games it was like Atari.
Yeah. My stepdad, like, before he finished the game, I would go out into the kitchen to, like, I don't know, get some water during the night because, you know, you wake up as if, you know, you wake up at 3 a.m. and it's like you've been in the Sahara Desert
Right, you've
for
been
like
eating
5
sand,
days.
yeah.
And so I go in and get myself some water, but I have to pass the living room to get to the kitchen. And it's like 4 a.m., 3 a.m. He's in there playing like Halo.
Love it. Solid choice.
Yeah. And that was going on for like a couple months.
This guy's priority straight.
He has his
You
priorities.
got to beat
straight.
Halo.
Yeah. But now he's stopped playing Halo and now he's like building a guitar from scratch.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's hard.
There's a
Acoustic or electric?
electric. It's like purple and sparkly.
Nice.
And there's all this gold hardware. And he just showed me the neck that he got literally yesterday.
Mm.
And it's this maple neck. And it's like vines, but it's like mother of pearl
Ooh,
inlays. It's
that
so pretty.
sounds cool.
It's really pretty. Okay. So what's something about you or your music that you wish people knew?
Oh man, did not expect that. I wish people would listen to it.
You wish people would listen to it?
Yeah, like I mean, like I have like 19 monthly listeners on Spotify. Like
Yeah.
I wish it was easier just to reach more people.
Yeah.
But it's something I wish they knew about it. Okay, so 90% of the songs that I've written have stemmed from an actual event or like something that, like most of the songs I write, something has happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk about it in that song, and whatever happens in that song is real. Like Glass Gazing,
Mm-hmm.
I wrote it at True Love in a booth because I got stood up on a date. And I
Really?
got hammered.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's what Glass Gazing is about.
Dang. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So, where do you see your music career going in the next couple years?
I'd like it to be. Ooh, I try not to make like unrealistic goals,
Mm-hmm.
and so I have to be careful when I make these goals
Yeah.
that I don't say something that's wild. Like I could say I hope I play Madison Square Garden in 2 years, or I hope I play Coachella.
Yeah.
I know that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah. Maybe not in 2 years.
Yeah,
but
yeah. So next 2 years, I'd like to have played a little bit of a bigger stage, something local, like maybe like the HOT Music Festival,
Yeah.
like a big stage at the fair.
Yeah, that
something
would be
like that.
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in school right now for music.
Yeah.
And something in the music business, I had like this music business class, and my teacher, she was like, as a musician, you know, you can kind of have your couple unrealistic goals, but you really need to make sure that you have your achievable goals to get there.
Right.
You know, you can't say, like you just said, like me as a musician, oh, I want to play, you know, Madison Square Garden
Right.
in a couple years. That's not really.
You'd have to get just insanely lucky.
You'd have to get like TikTok famous.
Yeah, you'd have to blow up.
overnight.
You'd be
You'd have to
like
blow
Dexter
up.
and the Moon Rocks type stuff.
Yes.
They blew up overnight.
For real, yeah. That's not really an achievable goal.
Yeah.
But, you know, I could say, oh, I want to create a band and play at the Backyard
Yeah.
within the next couple of years.
That would be fun.
That would be really fun. I mean, I played at the Backyard for my school, MCC.
Oh,
we
yeah,
have
yeah.
like little, I think last semester we had this little festival thing,
Mhm.
and literally all of the bands played. So it's like
You'll have like country, rock.
country,
jazz.
rock, jazz. We have mariachi, but I don't think they played.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah,
They didn't
it's
have
really
that
cool.
when I was there.
And then we also have this other ensemble called Vocal Tech, and then the Christian band too.
Mm.
So I got to play there once.
Did y'all play on like the main stage? That's so cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. But that day it was really windy, and I remember I couldn't remember the ending of one song, so I had my music, but it was so windy, and so literally all my music just kind of like.
Oh, that's rough.
Just, I mean, I could see it on the floor.
Yeah.
But
That'd be an awkward
I'm
way
like,
to play. Just
trying to play.
craning
but
your neck.
I kind of guessed the end. I'm going to be honest.
All good musicians guess at some point.
Yeah. Okay. So if you could collaborate with any artist, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh, I love this question. I have several. Alive, I want to do a song with Billy Strings. I love Billy Strings. I'd want to. Ooh, who else? I'm trying to think. Tyler Childers would be so much fun to play with.
Oh yeah.
Sierra Farrell. And then a few not living artists. Johnny Cash. If I could take the stage with Johnny Cash, that would be. Oh, that'd be amazing. Kurt Cobain would also be cool. Nirvana.
Really?
I'd
Nirvana.
love to play with Nirvana. I play a few Nirvana songs. I haven't played any for a gig, but I need to.
Ooh, that would be really cool. I would love to hear you play some Nirvana.
I do Heart Shaped Box. That's my favorite one to play.
What's some of your favorite Nirvana songs?
Heart Shaped Box is my number one. I love that song. Something in the Way, obviously.
Yeah.
Smells Like Teen Spirit. I mean, all the big ones are great. Oh, what is the name of that one? I cannot think of the name of it.
I'm trying to think.
That's upsetting.
I don't listen to a ton of Nirvana because I'm not going to lie to you. I kind of... how do I explain this? I'm not a fan of people who are like diehard Kurt Cobain fans. Like you get what I mean?
Yeah,
like the girls that are like, oh my God, Kurt Cobain, he's like the best dude ever.
You didn't know him.
You did not know. You were not even a thought when he
100%.
was around.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be so.
All Apologies was the song I was trying to think of.
All Apologies.
Yeah.
Let me think, because now I'm trying to think of. I'm spelling it wrong. Nirvana. There's this one song that I really like by Nirvana. It's off of like one of their really old albums. And there's a car horn going off behind me.
Love that.
Oh my gosh, why do they have so many albums?
They pumped out a lot of music.
It's like, oh, these are live.
I like any song. In Utero is an amazing album.
In Utero is really good. I'm trying to find it. Oh, it's off of their Insecticide album.
Okay.
I'm trying to find it. Where is it? Son of a Gun.
Son of a Gun is a great song. That's a great one.
Yeah, I like that one. All right. Well, I am out of questions.
Right.
Yeah. Is there any other thoughts from you?
If you're listening, check me out.
Yeah. Check out Garret Butler, and if you don't, I will find you and make you listen to him.
I won't. Like, if you don't want to, that's okay. But please.
Yeah, you should, because his music is really good. And, you know, the EP is coming out.
Yes.
And I'm really excited for that.
Me too.
Especially for Wish to come out on Spotify. Yay. Okay, so I guess that concludes this. I keep bumping this mic. I'm sorry. This concludes the first episode with a person, finally.
Glad to be the first.
So that concludes this episode. So come back next time I have an episode, which is probably, I don't know. I think I'm doing this every 2 weeks, so bi-weekly.
Sick.
So come back in 2 weeks. All right. Well, yeah. Keep the music playing. That's my outro.
Love that. That's a great outro.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.